Alright, great man. I hope that you're doing well. In today's session about advocacy, we will speak about developing a plan for advocacy. We have already spoken about how to get our advocacy campaign off the ground and start a campaign. We have spoken about the meaning of advocacy and the meaning of a direct service. We have also spoken about some of the survival skills about planning for a campaign. We have mentioned how to understand your issue so that you can address it properly and in the right way. We have also spoken about how to recognize your allies. Later, we have identified our opponents on the other hand. Last time, we have spoken about how to encourage involvement of potential opponents as well as allies. And today, we will speak about how to develop a plan for our advocacy. We have some questions that needs to be answered in today's session. Number one, what is a plan for advocacy? Number two, when should you create a plan for advocacy? Number three, making your own plan properly and putting the plans together. So, in question number one, what's a plan for advocacy? Does anyone have any clue? What is a plan for advocacy? I guess you are still sleeping. Okay. So to speak about the plan for advocacy, number one, other sections of community tools box have covered strategic planning. How should the planning for advocacy be different? Let's see the answer. The answer is that in many ways the process will be similar, but it's even more important to do it thoroughly and do it up front. That's because advocacy, number one, involves getting powerful individuals or organizations in order to make big changes that may not be in their short-term interest. Like, for example, when we've spoken about the illiterate children over the globe. So to make a plan in order to stop that, it's not a short-term plan. It's a very, very, very long-term plan because you're speaking about governments and communities. The plan for advocacy always involves working in public eyes so that you tell the people about your potential and what are you doing so that they may join your campaign. And also a plan for advocacy involves sticking out your neck, making a risk, to stick out your neck to make a risk or to take the risk. Why taking a risk? Simply because you take a stand against a larger opponent. Like the example we have given before about the chemical company that needs to construct a new branch in the city and we need to stop it. So we are standing against a larger opponent. And always mention that planning will help you find out ahead of time where the major difficulties may lie, and also to avoid the surprises, including those surprises that might make you look ineffective, clumsy, or even stupid. So by planning, you will have the ability to just plan for every detail that you may use in your campaign, and also you will look like a smart man doing everything and anticipating everything, whether it was good or bad. In addition, of course, as with any project, planning will help you to, number one, clarify your own goals, clarify the steps that you will take or that will take you to your goals, and also increase your chances of success. And that's actually a very good point, boys, not only for making a campaign, but also for your own life. If you put a plan for everything, that will help you directly to achieve your goals. So it's not just about advocacy and how to learn about the campaign and plan for it. But really, by planning, you will help, or this planning will help you to clarify your goals, clarify the steps that you will take in order to achieve your goals, and also increase your chances of success. So always try to put an anticipated plan so that you can anticipate your goals and achieve them. If you don't plan, on the other hand, you may waste valuable energy, miss some opportunities, and perhaps even antagonize people you need to keep on your side. Meaning that to let some people let go of you, and those people are very, very acid allies, which will whom you will use, of course, one time in your campaign. So always try to make a big plan, and this plan will just include every step in your campaign and will help you to achieve your goals properly. With me or still sleeping? Still with me, can you raise your hand? Grade 9, if you are with me, please raise your hands. Ibrahim is with me. Only one. I'm gonna kill you. Hey, grade 9, wake up. Walid, Saad, Rakan, Ryan, Musad, Iyad, Ahmad, Abdurrahman. Really, we are sleeping. Alright, Ibrahim, let's continue, both of us. So, when should you create a plan for advancing? Of course, it's very important to complete a plan before you start advocating, because as you will find, each part of the plan can affect the other. Normally, planning your goals comes first, but you may have to change those goals and plans if you find, as you plan further, of course, that the tactics you were hoping to use aren't legal or won't work to achieve your goals. When you plan everything together and ongoing, you can both build support and make adjustments as you go. So simply try to put an anticipated plan so that you can alternate. And always be sure that your plan is flexible, so it may change according to the circumstances you are in from time to time. Your goal also might be to close down the refinery that had been guilty of dumping toxic chemicals in the community. The same example we have given about the chemical factory that is trying to be constructed in our city. The same example, okay? A refinery that has been guilty of dumping toxic chemicals in the community. The same thing. And now we need to close it down or to shut it down. You find, of course, when you check into the list of possible allies, that the economic impact of closure would be devastating to the community, because this factory, it helps the community a lot in the financial way, and by closure it will just damage our community. So what can we do? So you need to adjust your goals to one that would be for a change of the safety practice in the refinery and permit closer community oversight, meaning that you can now change your plan so that you will not harm the community. If you had publicly stated your own goals of closing the place before taking or talking with others or filling the other steps of your plan, you could have antagonized many of those who support you or those who you need. So these might include many people in the community who dependent on the refinery financially, and it would have been hard to win them back after publicly coming out against their interests. So simply, what we are speaking about is how to build a global plan for advocacy. And by making this plan, you need to just study every step of it. Good morning, Salim. How are you doing? Hello, Yusuf. How are you?
Doing good, thank you.
So once again, we're speaking about how to develop a plan for advocacy. And by developing a plan, we are speaking about that this plan will help you in clarifying your goals, clarifying the steps that you will take in order to achieve your goals, and also it will increase your chances of success. By making this plan, you will anticipate what's going to happen, and then you can just make your plan flexible so that you can change it according to the new circumstances which you are in from time to time. And one of the examples that we have given was about the chemical refinery or the chemical factory that's dumping some toxic waste or chemicals in the community. And of course, we need to close it. But if we closed it, it will affect the economy of our community a lot. And by doing so, that's going to be very, very bad for our community. So, what can we do? Simply, all we need to do in that point is to try to alter our goals so that they will just fit both the community and the environment. And to do that, you must first not expose all of your plan, because you will lose most of the potential allies if you just said that we need to close the factory or the refinery. By saying that, you have lost many people who are interested in the financial or the community income that comes out of the factory. All you need to do is just to study the issue first and put a very global or a very big plan so that you can address each problem that you may face. By making your plans, planning is best done as a group activity, not one by one. Because by making it a group activity, you are now sharing your ideas and sharing your views. One way to write up ideas on the chalkboard or even a picture paper. Then after doing that, after they have been debated, record the idea you have chosen in a permanent place. The actual format of the plan is not important. What's important is that you write it down in a form you can use, like a computer file, for example, or on a whiteboard. And that lets you check one part of the plan against the rest. A loser leaf or a loose leaf binder or computer file with a separate section for each category may be all you need. So, simply we're speaking about how to make your plan visible for you. So just use a computer file so that you can adjust when needed. That's number one. And number two, just try to make it in front of you all the time so that you can check the variables. What happened? What can we change in the plan? Is the plan going on the track or not? And of course, any plan is being put just for the goals and the objective. If you are asked what the goal of your advocacy campaign or group is, your answer may come out in the form of a mission statement, like saying, our aim is to create decent and affordable housing. That's one very important issue that we need to advocate because housing right now is very expensive for most of the youth. So our aim is to create decent and affordable housing, or even we intend to reduce pollution of the local waterways. That's also another big problem that needs to be advocated. However, for planning purposes, goals should be split down into much specific steps. Very specific steps. And remember that it's better to keep your focus on a relatively narrow, manageable group of issues. So something that you can deal with. Do not just put a plan for something you will not be able to address or deal with because it's out of your reach or out of your hand. Rather than letting yourself try to cover too much ground and lose strength in the process. It's also very important to split up the goals according to your time frame and also the members of your team, because we have long term term goals, very long term goals, so the one that may take years in order to be achieved. So spell out where you want to be by the end of the advocacy campaign. That's the long term, at the finish or at the end of the campaign. And the intermediate goals get you much of the way. They focus on community and system changes, new or modified programs, policies, and also practices in the local community or the border system. They provide concrete building blocks towards the ultimate goals, which is the long-term goal, and also the intermediate goals help the group to feel it's doing something. Because the intermediate goals happens very quickly and very fast. Consequently, you will feel that you are achieving something. This can be helpful to maintain high levels of motivation over the long haul. They also provide earlier benchmarks. Benchmarks like planning. Where are you right now and where shall you go for the next step, by which you can measure your progress. For example, in 1 year, the city council will create 6 new low-income housing units. So that's great. In 6 months, we will have changed the hours of the clinic to increase access. In 9 months, two major businesses will have introduced the flex time policies that permits adults to be with children after school. So that's for your long-term plan in 1 year, in 6 months, or even in 9 months. For the short-term plan, have some of the same function as intermediate kind. They help to keep a group motivated by providing more intermediate benchmarks in the form of action steps. Like by next June, we will have signed up 10 new members. That's very good. In 2 months, we will hold the first public hearing. That's awesome. By the end of November election, we will get 1,500 people out to vote, and that's very, very, very good thing. Last thing we will speak about today is your goals must be SMART plus C. Your goals must be SMART plus C. SMART is the abbreviation for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, timed, and challenge. So the goals you are putting for your campaign must be SMART plus C. So in the term of planning, it pays to examine each goal before you write it down to make sure it meets certain criteria. Specifically, each goal should be SMART plus C. So SMART plus C refers to specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, timed, and challenging. And here is how SMART and C planning works. For specific, the more specific you can be about what it is you want your group to achieve and by when, the better, of course. So once you put a specific plan, specific goal, specific target, consequently you will be able to achieve it more easily. And instead of we will hold a meeting, you should your goal should be we will hold a meeting for parents of teenagers, children in the memorial hall to invite input on the initiative. So instead of just letting it very common, no, now you made it very, very specific so that it will be easier. For measurable, put your goals in measurable terms. The more precise you are about what you want to get done, the easier it will be to see what and how much your goal has accomplished. This may prove to be essential if you are carrying out a systematic evaluation of your campaign. See some related section of this chapter. So don't say that smoking in our community will be reduced, but instead the percentage of smokers in our community will decline by 30% by year 2000. So now you made it both specific and also measurable. So you measured the decline in the smokers in our community. For being achievable, it's great for you to be ambitious. Yet on the other hand, you should also remember to set realistic goals that your group can actually achieve. Real change takes time and resources. If you bite off more than you can chew, consequently your group and the community may become prematurely disappointed or discouraged. So always try to put your goals that are achievable. You can do them, consequently you will stay on the right track. And the goals themselves must be relevant to your own mission and to your own campaign and time during a specific date and challenging to challenge yourself always to achieve the best. So I need someone now to help me. Ibrahim or Yusuf?
Yes.
Yes. Alright. So once again, we were speaking about how to develop a plan for advocacy. Can you read, please?
Yes. How's planning for advocacy different? Getting the powerful, getting the powerful to make changes not in their short-term interests. Working in the public eye. Sticking your neck out.
So once again, while speaking about how planning for advocacy is different, number one, we were speaking about getting the powerful to make changes, meaning that always try to make a change so that you can achieve your goals in advocacy. Working in the public eye so that you can grab as many as potential allies as possible. Sticking your neck out to take your chances and to challenge the community so that you achieve your goals.
Create the plan up front, but make sure it's flexible.
Yes, exactly.
When new conditions or opponents emerge, when a strategy or tactic doesn't work, some people you count on as allies turn against you.
So, while of course creating your plan, you must put in your mind that sometimes you will have new conditions and some opponents may emerge, and this will change a little bit in your plan or will change your plan totally. So, your plan must be flexible so that you can cope with the new circumstances. When a strategy or a tactic doesn't work, directly try to change it to some other thing that may work, and some people can count on as allies and they can turn into opponents. So all we need to do is just to set our plan flexible for any new change. That's why we say we must set our plan in a place that we can change it, like a Word or a computer file.
A comprehensive plan includes goals, resources and assets, support and opposition, targets and agents of change, strategy, tactics,
Of course, all of these are to be put in the comprehensive plans. Your goals, your resources, your supports, your targets, strategies, and also tactics. And I think we have already covered all of that.
goals should be SMART plus C, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time, challenging,
By doing all of that, your goals shall meet their success at the end of your campaign.
create an inventory of resources, funds, people currently available, people you expect to be available, contacts, facilities,
Of course, by speaking about the inventory, you need to put in your plan where are you going to get the money? Who are your allies right now? Who are your potential allies? Who may they contact so that they can help you? What are the facilities in the community that may help you in achieving your campaign? All of that must be included in your resources so that you can use them properly.
calculating community support, a list of allies, opponents, people who may be allies or opponents,
first, while calculating the community support, you need to have a list of your allies right now, your opponents, the people you are advocating against, and the people who may be your allies or even your opponents, and have them all the time in front of you. All the time, make your opponents and your allies in front of you so that you can always measure your own situation and change it according to the variables of the new circumstances.
Who needs to make a change? Who can bring it about? For your plan, decide who are the main targets of change, which agents might bring pressure to bear on the targets. A strategy shows how to reach your goals. Plan strategies that fit your style, use your resources and allies, bring about the desired effect on opponents, are flexible so you can react to changing developments.
Okay,
Tactics are the action steps. Choose tactics that carry out your strategy, don't get sidetracked, don't antagonize people unnecessarily.
because after all, we're speaking about how to grab more people to our campaign, so we don't need to make any opponents. So do not antagonize any.
Are doable and cost effective. Make your group feel good about themselves and what they are doing.
So, to speak, of course, about the tactics and about the action that you are taking, you must carry out your strategy. So, do not sidetrack, meaning that you have set a plan and you just need to follow that plan with your strategies and your tactics. Do not antagonize the people because, after all, we need more allies in our campaign, and your tactics must be doable, meaning that you are capable of achieving them. And by doing all of that, you will make your group feel better about themselves. Consequently, they will just keep going on the plan. Campaign planning chart, of course. You need to set your goals, your resources and assets, your support and opposition, your targets and agent of a change, your strategies and your action steps. All of that must be all the time in front of you so that you can altern any new changes. For the strategy checklist, the goals, strategy, and does your goals and your strategies help us reach our goals, use our allies, minimize the opposition, and suit our own style? We are doing all of that, then that's great, and you are working on the right track. If they do not do all of that, then you just need to change and flexible them. Any questions so far?
No, thank you.
Okay, let's watch this video.
Conducting advocacy is like taking a trip. Before setting off, you need to reflect on the route to take, and then you can prepare your luggage accordingly. So let's work out your advocacy roadmap together. When you plan a trip, the first question to ask yourself is where you want to visit. For the roadmap, that means clearly identifying the topic of your advocacy. For example, combating violence against women or guaranteeing the right to protest in your country. Why do you want to conduct this advocacy? The route you will take will depend on the answer to that question. Once the advocacy topic is clear, you need to reflect on what you want to achieve. Depending on what you're calling for, it can take some time to see results from an advocacy activity. For example, calling for the immediate release of an imprisoned human rights defender is a short-term objective, while seeking the revision of any legislation will take longer. These short, medium, and long-term objectives will guide your reflection all along the advocacy steps. Based on your objectives, identify the people and institutions you wish to meet during the trip, the people you want to influence to achieve the desired results. These advocacy targets may be part of various institutions at a different level of power, but some are more accessible than others. They may even be present in your country. The EU delegation and the member state embassies are easier to meet than the EU institutions in Brussels or the United Nations. Once you have listed all potential targets, sort them by order of priority and establish how you want to reach them, depending on the resources of your organization. Each target has different responsibilities and means of action. Draw up the messages and recommendations to be passed to each target, taking account of their responsibilities and reminding them of their own commitments. For example, the European Commission can financially support civil society locally. On the other hand, the member states take important political decisions, such as adopting sanctions against a country. Now that your targets and messages have been clearly defined, you may look for people who will travel with you, who will be your partners. For instance, you can partner with civil society organizations to support and strengthen your actions. They can put you in touch with organizations from other countries, or they can contact certain targets, including at the international level. They can also lend weight to certain messages, because if you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, walk together. You can find concrete examples to better understand these steps in our training guide, available on the website of Euromed Rights.
Alright, grade 9, that's going to be it for today's session. Any question about how to set an advocacy campaign and plan?
No, thank you.
So once again, this file is going to be issued on my Coursera. You can download it. If you have any question about developing your plan for advocacy, have no hesitation to contact me. See you next session, guys.